Hey everybody, what's up? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome to the channel. The first card that we have out is the Seven of Pentacles. Alright. I'm seeing Seven of Pentacles and I'm seeing Eight of Cups. Interesting combination. It seems like things have been leading in this direction. Eight of Cups is a moment where you're realizing that you're sort of not going to get what you're looking for out of a situation anymore. So Eight of Cups, especially on the emotional front, or like when this situation was fruitful, could have been something where you really felt the way that you wanted to feel, the way that you wanted to experience. You were getting that experience that you wanted emotionally, feeling wise, which even extends beyond just emotions. So you were getting what you needed from that. Eight of Cups is like, it's like coming up empty, it's coming up dry. I can't get what I need from that anymore emotionally. Seven of Pentacles shows something that you could be in a spot where you're like, I could still potentially keep doing this. I could keep putting my energy into this. I could keep giving myself to this. I could keep working on this. But Eight of Cups is like, but I'm not going to get what I need emotionally out of it. So you could feel like there's something going on where you're like, I invested all of this energy into this, or like all of the, I'm seeing you just like trail along with like the past and how that's all connected to this. Like it's all been leading up to this. It's all been leading up to this point. Leading up to this point. But now it may be something where you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I did all of this stuff. I was doing this and I was doing this and I was doing this, and they're kind of all connected with one another, and like I thought that I was like building up to somewhere, but when I get to the top of this, I'm realizing that, I don't know, maybe something feels like it's going downhill now at this point. This means that something that you've been putting your energy into, you can look at this and be like, whatever it was, fulfillment wise or like gratification wise, feeling wise, I'm not pulling that from it anymore. Like I can't draw on that emotionally anymore. I can't draw from that emotionally anymore. The Sun feels like I'm realizing this, I'm recognizing this. I may be willing to notice that this is going on right now. But I will say the reason why we get caught up when we logically know, and also too, we're feeling, every time I try to go back into this situation and try to pull something from it, like trying to siphon something from this, feeling wise, I can't get a draw on anything. You can know that that's going on. However, having Seven of Pentacles behind it shows that stubborn earth energy where it's like, but this is what I've been doing. So there can be this feeling of, I'm having a hard time reconciling the fact that I may want to be able to pull more from this, but I can't. And I already put this energy into it that I gave to this. I already invested into this. So there's this part of me that wants to keep going. Like I wish, ideally I could. Your ego does want to anyway, in a finite sense. And the part of you that's like, I need life emotionally, is trying to pull you out of this. But there's another part of you that may be digging your heels in. I feel like Seven of Pentacles is here as context to show that you may already know and recognize that you can't pull anything feeling wise from this situation, but Seven of Pentacles is like, but didn't you already put your energy into it? So might you just want to keep going when emotionally you already know what the truth of this situation is for you, and so it's not resonating with you. there can be a tendency to ignore this part of yourself, because Seven of Pentacles can be like, maybe financially I'm still pulling something from this, or maybe lifestyle wise, or maybe in some type of beneficial material way I could be getting something from this, or it like reminds me of stability or something like that. However, you can look at it and know that on the, because there are going to be multiple sides to this, right? You can know that on the emotional side of this, there's not really any action going on there, because you're meant to keep moving. So emotionally, you may feel this part of yourself that's like, I'm seeking elsewhere, I'm seeking otherwise. And that's what's going on here. So you're feeling like you're called somewhere else, even though you can look at this and be like, yeah, I did put my energy into this. For some of you, you can look at this and be like, well, in my head, I was going to put more in, because when you look at the Seven of Pentacles, it shows sort of like what we've already put into something, and it can feel like the process is incomplete, but the sign that this is a closed out cycle is the Eight of Cups for you. So this is an emotional sign that this cycle is complete for you and you're meant to keep going, but you may be looking for a different type of sign. Like, if this was really done for me, shouldn't I not be able to still make money from this? I'm just saying money because it's the easiest example, because we have pentacles here. It's like, you can still pick the fruit from the garden. It's still having fruit come out, but you don't want to be doing that anymore. So it's not, the fruit is not going to indicate to you that this cycle is over. It's the emotional part that's indicating to you that this cycle is done with. But I think too, like on the emotional front, because that is more internal, it can be easier to ignore. It's like it only comes up when you're going to bed at night, or when you're feeling really drained, or when you didn't get enough sleep, or when you're having one of those days. It makes it harder to ignore those feelings, you know? You're meant to keep going. All right, we're good. You're meant to keep going with this. If you don't remove yourself, you're going to get removed. I'm seeing a tower. So let's say it like this. For those of you, okay, tower can be a warning energy where you may not have experienced the tower yet, and if you choose, you can like opt yourself out of this. If you just listen to yourself, you won't have to experience the tower. Some of you are experiencing the tower. There was something that you were putting your energy into. Now you're feeling like emotionally there's an emptiness within it. Tower is like, I'll take you out of this situation if you're not going to remove yourself. So you may be experiencing something where it feels like you're getting plucked out of a situation, and there's a part of you that emotionally would be relieved. Like, finally, maybe I'm going to find myself next into a situation where I can get some play feeling-wise or emotionally. But there may be another part of you that's like, hey, I was in the middle of picking the fruit. But that part of you that was like not enjoying it would feel a sense of relief of like, maybe now I'll be in a situation where I can be activated in some way. So you may have mixed feelings about this. I'm seeing your guides be like, this is supposed to be happening. So for those of you that you got plucked out of this and it felt like it wasn't your choice, this is like the universe putting you where you're supposed to be. Because you weren't willing to listen to and follow through with the emotional part of it, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame. Sometimes we stay in situations and we don't get plucked out. For some reason, your guides are like, nope, we need to pull you off of the bench here. Like, we need you to play over here. So that's what's happening. So just know that if something is going on and it feels chaotic, or like you're being removed from a situation, that this is supposed to be happening. It's like divinely orchestrated that this is taking place. And if you're being real with yourself here through reflection, you'll know that emotionally you had been done with this situation. And that's the truth. Ooh, but that may feel very scary. I'm seeing Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is like, I don't want it to change. I don't want it to change. I don't want it to change. I don't want to let it go. But Mars is like, you don't have a choice. I'm seeing you definitely getting removed from something here. But this may feel like very terrifying because you could feel like you weren't ready yet. Meaning, I think mentally you weren't ready yet, or you could be telling yourself that. This is something that you can adjust to. It's one of those situations where you kind of get forced to adjust to this. I'm definitely seeing Mars be behind this. You can be experiencing a transit right now. Mars in your chart being activated, you being yanked out. This can also be like Mars in the ether aspecting something in your chart. Okay, so at first when it starts happening, you could be like, no, this is my worst nightmare that this is happening. But then seeing 10 of Cups, then you're going to be like, wow, this is my like happiest fantasy that this is happening. But you have to go through the fear first. So it's situation that you've been doing, getting to a place where you realize emotionally not for you any longer, meant to continue. Your guides be like, okay, you realized it, we're pulling you out, you don't have to do anything. You get removed from this situation. This is the removal. It's like the cleanup that's happening. But that part of you that was like, well, I didn't decide, I was still making my mind up, is now getting thrown into this thing. So it's sort of like you're on this roller coaster where you were like, I didn't, and they're buckling you in onto this, and now you have to just be okay with it, like the transition that's happening. But then it's like halfway through, you're having the time of your life, and it ends, and you're like, roller coasters are actually my favorite. Something happens here where you're like thrilled actually with the outcome. This is like the best outcome. This is like everything that was missing is now realized. 8 of Cups is like everything that's missing. 10 of Cups is everything and more being handed to you, being provided. So you're in much better shape emotionally at the end of this. Feels very... It's like a euphoric feeling. I'm getting synonyms for euphoric with the way that things feel when they end. But I'm seeing things be very, very... It can feel very terrifying, can be feeling very scary, can be facing the things that you've been like avoiding all along. Like why you hadn't been stepping and moving in the first place. Now your guides are like, oh, you have no choice, here it is. So you just have to face it now. But then having the 10 of Cups, when you get to the 10 of Cups, you'll be like, wow, totally worth it. No doubt, I'd do it again. That type of thing. And that's also too, like, why Mars is this like reorganizing principle where it can feel like Mars is being very destructive, but the way that Mars works is that it's like swift, like in and out, I'm gonna fix this really quickly. That's how Mars works. I'm not gonna spend time messing around. We're gonna yank you out and pull you where you're supposed to go, and you're actually gonna end up having the best time of your life. So whatever this is, I'm seeing it be a situation that's handled swiftly. But you could also feel like there's a lot of intensity. Like you go from like dry feeling wise or like dry emotionally, like you cannot pull anything from this, to then being plopped into a situation that feels like a vast ocean that you can pull from. And in the middle of this is chaos and destruction, facing something, the changing of something, and then the reconstructing, restructuring that then ends up happening. And yeah, so I'm seeing it be like problem solved. That's how you feel at the end. I want to get more. I am not finished with this yet. Yeah, so if you are feeling something like this coming on, because like each of you can be at a different point in this. If you're feeling something like this coming on and it starts, you make this connection, this recognition of like, I don't think that this aligns anymore, or like emotionally, is it supposed to be feeling like this? I almost feel like Like it's not stimulating anything, you know, that type of thing. On the emotional front, then you get pulled into this like whirlwind of action and energy. It feels like also very quick change, where it's like scariest thing, face it, and then it's like over very quickly, and then you are sitting in this situation where you're like, I feel so, it's like an exuberant type of energy, like a euphoric type of energy is what I'm getting from this 10 of Cups. That's really what you were investing in. The universe just had its part to play in this. All right. Yeah, you could have been doing something where when you started off with whatever situation this was, you definitely could have been pulling from it emotionally, because I'm seeing Page of Cups here. So this is you going about your way and putting your energy and putting your feelings and your gifts and your intuition and your touch on things and feeling like that's the place to be. And for some time, it would have been something that was really reflective of what was going on for you. Then you got to the point where it was like, okay, you need to go to the next level now. But because you were tapped into your water energy in this situation, you could have been like, I don't know about that. Water energy is connected with your feminine energy. It can be difficult to initiate things and to move and get things done. Because it can be like, I want to stay where I feel comfortable. This is comforting to me. This feels like home to me. Even if it's feeling like a broken home to me, the way that this 8 of Cups is, there's this part of me that almost feels sheltered or protected in this, even if this is like dysfunctional for me emotionally. So I'm seeing there be some steps that need to be taken that you could have been like, every step is feeling so challenging, it's feeling so difficult, like a fish out of water within this. I'm seeing 9 of Wands here. Something that would have felt like so tiring. So it looks like you could have been in this situation and your guides could have been like, you could really use the extra hand, and so they helped you out with this. It definitely is helpful because we end with the 10 of Cups, so they're like, pull you up, push you over here, that type of thing. But Tower feels like it was something that could have came about very quickly. Like in and out, like Mars is connected with things like surgery and whatnot, like problem, go in and fix it as effectively as possible, close it up, done, like that type of thing. But I'm seeing definitely on the way you having to face something that could have felt very terrifying, but it was all worth it. That would be the feeling. So much learning happening, learning about sort of what has taken place, what's going to take place, what is taking place. You're also at a point where you're learning about how Mars works within your life too. It feels like that's what's connected, like learning about the archetype of the Tower and what it's actually doing. The reason why I keep saying Mars is because the Tower represents Mars. The energy of that, the archetype of that. And the Tower is the only major arcana that I'm seeing. Yeah. This is teaching you how to step up in ways that may have actually like scared you to show up in that way. But I'm seeing there be a lot of evolving and a lot of changing that's happening as you're facing these very somewhat like intimidating situations because of the mental narrative. So you're facing these things where it's like, these are my worst fears that I'm facing, or these are the like biggest anxieties that I'm facing, or these are the things that have been the most difficult for me to work out mentally. And it's like, here you showing up and you stepping to the rhythm of this. I'm seeing you also learn a lot about yourself, and that you are able to initiate, that you can be in your feelings, that you can be sensitive and connected, that you can also learn and be adapting, and then also be stepping up and initiating. And here's where the masculine energy comes in too. where it's like gets triggered by you facing something that feels really intense. And so you sort of have to step up into this energy, and then you're like, wow, look at me. It's like that type of thing. Yeah, before, whatever that situation was that you were in before, where there was like not a willingness yet to remove yourself from that. When I say remove, I mean to like keep going on your journey. It's like you were keeping yourself frozen in that, even though you were getting like all of the signs and all of the messages like, hey, you're not supposed to be here anymore. This has expired. We need you to keep moving. It was like refusing to move. So that's why you got pulled from this. What I'm seeing is that if in looking back at this, you could look back and say, if I would have stayed, I would have been sabotaging my pursuit of happiness. I wouldn't have been being honest with myself about what was going on emotionally for me, about what was actually fulfilling for me. So there may be something that you're realizing here too about like what keeps you from feeling like happy and in alignment emotionally, or feeling like it's not just about being happy, it's feeling a sense of peace about what you have going on in your life, feeling connected to things, like that type of stuff. And it feels like maybe because of investing in something that was not really aligned with things emotionally for you. But now I'm seeing this part of you sort of get thrown back into the water, which you were like searching for all along, and be like, I'm really feeling at home here. So I'm wondering too, if you were not feeling at home emotionally, now you are, given just the circumstances and what has happened now at this point. Some of you, this can be, I wonder if this happened like abruptly, if you did things abruptly, if stuff happened abruptly. I'm also wondering too, for some of you, this can be about like work or you taking care of yourself. This can also be about what you're doing, how you're living your life, what you're expecting of yourself, your autonomy, being connected with this too, because I'm seeing King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. I'm seeing you really took initiative. I want to check out one card. Let's see. I'm seeing you be in this phase right now where you're basically like learning how to be your version of the King of Wands. Like you're currently like mastering that archetype. Which I'm seeing would be connected with the Mars in your chart. Okay, so what I'm seeing was going on was that what was happening and what was sort of keeping you before from fully stepping forward was stuff that was all connected with the past, but that was actually like weighing you down. It was like stuff that maybe you were refusing to let go of, but it was like you weren't able to sort of keep your head above water within that. Like you could have been like dishonestly sentimental about something, you know, like unwilling to see it for what it is. You could have been feeling really nostalgic about a situation, like I don't want to recognize what's really going on here. I want to pretend it's like it was in the beginning, like that type of thing. But then getting to a point where it was like, this is just too much now. That's what I'm seeing happened. Wow, this would have felt like a really big decision. Some of you, you're on your way there. Some of you, you've already done this, is what I'm seeing. This is you investing in yourself, especially your emotional stuff going on. I'm seeing it was a challenge for you to step out of this situation, for you to keep moving with everything. Learning about your Mars energy, facing stuff. This comes with a sense of like responsibility and ownership of your life and what you're doing and what you're involved in and how you're making decisions and how you're carrying those things out and how you're steering the ship of your life. I feel like radical self-honesty was also part of this too, where you were like, I can keep lying to myself, but it's only going to disadvantage me. Like that type of thing. So yeah, I'm also seeing that be part of this too. For some of you, you've already gone through this. For others of you, you may not completely be there yet, and that's why I'm seeing Seven of Swords be out here saying that, like, if you want to keep Seven of Swords connected with Ten of Cups, Seven of Swords is like, what am I not telling myself? What messages am I getting that I keep like deleting them before reading them, like from my guides, like that type of stuff. Like, what things do I not want to recognize that I know are there, but I just don't want to process it, because then that means I have to do the difficult thing, you know? Like, I have to actually step up. I have to actually be listening to myself. I have to actually follow my calling, like those types of things. Live my life in a way that feels aligned with myself emotionally. Having Seven of Swords would be connected with like shutting all of those things down, and it would be impacting the way that you feel about what you have going on. Would it impact your mood, your feelings, the sort of like emotional narrative, the feeling narrative that you have about your life and you being at peace or not at peace with yourself? Those types of things, feeling connected versus not connected with yourself, that stuff. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.